Today we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of your first week in law school. And I know you're freaking out. That's okay. Don't worry about it because none of this is going to be on the test. The first week of law school can seem completely overwhelming. Just take a step back and realize that it's all going to be okay. Everyone feels overwhelmed. You're thrown into a situation that you've never been in before. You're learning about subjects that you didn't know existed. It's probably going over your head. You probably feel stressed out. You might be a little freaked out. That's okay. Everyone feels that way. But let's talk about all the do's and don'ts of your first week of law school. Everything that you can do to maximize your chances of success later on, and everything you can do to minimize your stress in the present. You should understand that the way that law school is taught is completely backwards. You learn the most antiquated arcane cases early on in the semester, and there is very little chance that any of those cases will be used on the final exam. For example, if you're in property, you might learn about Pearson versus Post, which is the case where two men pursued a fox, but one man killed it and carried it away, and it's a dispute about who had possession of the fox. And the rule of law is that mere pursuit of the animal itself does not give you a right to the ownership of the animal. But guess what? There are almost no exams in the history of property where citing to Pearson versus Post is a way to get points on the final exam. It's weird because, strangely enough, pursuing animals is not something that is often done in modern society, and therefore those situations just don't come up that much. So don't worry that every single class seems to start with these antiquated cases that will not be on your final exam and really don't do much to further your understanding of the substantive law. So don't feel bad if you feel completely overwhelmed with the arcane law from the Court of Exchequer in England. It's a way to ease into the semester, and it's not information that you're going to be responsible for later on. The second thing to realize is that a lot of the information that your school is going to give you is bad. For example, I know that at UVA, the professors give over an hour lecture on case briefing, how to highlight the procedural posture of a case, how to separate out all the different parts of a case. That information is completely useless. Case briefs are just a waste of time, and the information, it comes from a good place. They want to give you some idea of what you should be doing, but it really just fosters busy work. So don't feel bad if the information that you're given in orientation or the advice that you got before law school is contradictory, or it seems like it's creating more busy work than it seems like the benefit that you're getting out of it. It's probably the case. You're going to get contradictory advice. And unless it's coming from us, it's probably bad advice. So don't feel like you have to do everything that you were told before going into law school. And don't assume that just because your law school tells you to do something, you should be doing it. Often it's the absolute opposite of that case. With respect to case briefs, I see professors giving the advice that all students should case brief every case that they get. I think that's really terrible advice. In fact, we have an entire video on why case briefing is bad and why you shouldn't do it. If you feel you must case brief, do it once and then put it aside. I know the final exam might seem like it's a long way off, but take a look at an issue spotting exam and see if there is any way that you can imagine that you can use the information of a case brief in the final exam. Odds are you can't. And I've been doing this for a while. I've never seen a case where using all of the information in a case brief actually helped on the final exam. I think it's just busy work. It's a waste of time. Next, you're going to meet a lot of people. Think about forming a study group, but don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Study groups can be great. They're not always necessary. Some people learn better in groups. Some people will feel like they waste a lot of time just going on an endless conversation in study groups. Feel it out. Perhaps start up a study group, but don't feel bad if you don't want to join study groups or if you feel like the study groups are passing you by. Don't overcommit. Now is a time to try things out. I know it feels like everything is coming down on you and you're overwhelmed and slammed, but really you'll be able to separate what's working for you and what's not in the weeks to come. In that vein, don't try to do everything. know that there's a limited amount of time that you have, and you'll want to really maximize the things that give you high return on investment. Things like outlining, things like practice exams, things like distilling and synthesizing your notes with commercial supplements. But don't try and do absolutely everything. Don't try to join every extracurricular and don't join every single intramural sports team. There is time for some of that stuff, but don't feel like you need to try everything out. At the end of your first week, what I would recommend is start outlining. Over the weekend, what I like to do during my semester was use your weekends for outlining. Distill all of your notes with all of your supplementary material. Your weekends are your time. While during the week you're going to class, you're preparing for class, carve out your weekends to start outlining. And if you outline every single week, by the time the study period rolls around and finals, you'll be studying from your outline while everybody else is starting to put together their outline. Now, sure, there's value in putting your outline together, but there's far more value in getting that out of the way so you can study from it and start using practice tests. And remember, even though it's week one, you want to think about the end game. It's all about finals. It's very rare that class participation counts for anything. So remember to always focus on the things that are going to provide value at the final. It's never too early to make that realization. And understand that it's almost all about essays. Even in classes that have some multiple choice questions, the majority of your points are going to come from essays. And in most first year classes, almost all of the points come from issue spotting long form essays. And now is a good time to think about the strategies that go towards better essay writing, because a lot of your points and a lot of your final grade is going to be based on an issue spotting exam. Because so many professors use issue spotting exams, you can use the same strategies in every class, regardless of the substantive law. Legal Eagle offers an entire class on mastering issue spotting exams, and there are others as well that are also very good. But it's never too soon to realize that most of your grade is going to come from issue spotting exams. So the bottom line is it's week one, but don't freak out. You're going to have the entire rest of the semester to get into your groove. Everybody starts out in feeling like a stranger in a foreign land. Very little of what you're learning in your first week is going to be on the test, so you can try different methodologies of preparing for class and working on your outline. You can find what works for you and then really get into your groove for the rest of the semester. I know it can seem completely overwhelming, but that's okay. It happens to everyone. Now is a great time to take a deep breath, realize that it's all going to be okay, and think about the habits that will get you across the goal line at the end of the semester. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe for more law school crushing tips, and also click below to download the free checklist to help crush law school. So thanks for stopping by.